actively looking for a new streaming service, as Streamyard is just getting getting ridiculous. Streamyard, fix your goddamn shit, because honestly, I don't care if I'm demonetized for this video right now. You guys are pissing me off to no end. Anyway, folks, welcome back. It's your pal Lauren Chat here to discuss Edge of Tomorrow as part of Tuesday theme streams, which I'm currently, for the month of October, doing aliens versus military. So, hello everybody. Sorry about the screwed up countdown, because, well, StreamYard sucks and I can't really do much more of that. Also, I got better lighting thanks to a ring light I have, as you can see in the reflection to my glasses here. And yeah, going to be discussing Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Brendan Gleeson, Bill Paxton, the late and great Bill Paxton. And those are the four major players of this film. Everybody else is, well, rather not very well known. Anywho, before I get started, I do want to clarify that tonight I will be on the Barroom Podcast. I have a video coming out later today, around 5 p.m. to cover a possible fix for the evil that is the House of Mouse. And tonight, I already said, I'll be on Barroom Podcast on Society Reviews channel at 9. I'll be on Odin's at 7, modding his chat. Wednesday is Halloween 2 with Mara Jade, or Jade Shadow. And Thursday is Silver Bullet with me and Jade Shadow on my channel at 8 p.m. Sunday is kicking off Tolkien Sundays, which will be the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended editions. We're not going scene by scene. If we do, holy crap, that will just take forever. However, we will be going over some scenes that are key scenes that are liked, stuff that we do want to talk about during the of the film, and overall enjoyment of. So this one, I will be bringing up scenes. I do not own the rights to this movie. They are this is a Warner Brothers movie, so chances are they will freaking claim my video. I'm hoping not, because I'm actually giving them free promotion of their video, Live, Die, Repeat. I mean, objectively, this film is a 9.5 out of 10. It's damn near perfect, because the CGI is very well done, and the choppiness of the CGI, or the looks of the aliens in this, where they are very chaotic, is by design. So, yeah, the only problem that this movie has is that it introduced real-world politics, which dates the film, and I think was a very foolish move, as well as is a foolish move, because you are pushing this sort of crap in the real world, and nobody likes that. It's actually something that is frowned upon nowadays, because if there's real-world bullshit in a movie, people automatically tune out. And this movie has 1 second, and it's enough because of the evil person that is in that scene, HRC. And I'm not going to show the woman either. So, how you doing, Vanya, Neozoic, and Dakota? Good to see you, Elena. Fun question. How would you rank from less scary to scariest of Sith Lords, Sidious, Nihilus, Bane, Vitiate, Crate? Scary or less to scariest? Exar, Bane, Crate, Nihilus, or no, Sidious, Nihilus, and then Vitiate. Vitiate laid waste to the planets. Anyway, getting into the movie, we got Tom Cruise starring in this movie. This movie is actually very well done. I've already said that, but I do want to reiterate because it truly is very well directed by Doug Liman. Tom Cruise got in during the pre-production phase to help with the suits. The um or he basically made sure that people put forward their best for this film. Oh, I accidentally cut the screen off. Sorry. But yes, in the beginning of this movie, he's not a warrior. He is a hype man. He's military media hype for the invasion or for the army. So we got the invasion about how these things came in on meteors, and the one shot of Hillary Clinton in this movie, which takes place over 1 second of the film, just one. But that is enough, really. What is my opinions on the? Well, this is part of the fun facts that I will be delivering. All You Need Is Kill, that Edge of Tomorrow is based on. I don't have an opinion on it because I've never read it, but I hear that it is a pretty good novel. So yeah, first fun fact: the control room that is in the background of Cage here talking to the or people. Let me go over here where he's talking about Operation Downfall. And this talking about Rita Verdun and how she managed to slaughter mimics at Verdun and push back the enemy. And the jacket technology that everybody wears. And they call her the Full Metal Bitch or the Angel of Verdun. Full Metal Bitch is actually what they call her in the book, which is her nickname. So yeah, now let's see if I can they're talking about the jackets here. I want to actually see if I can get to the scene where it shows right here. This background, the control room, is literally taken from another movie, from 1983 film War Games. And they're basically talking about Operation Downfall, which also has its real world inspirations. Now, I have no problem when a movie takes inspiration from the real world. However, putting real world stuff in the movie is a no-no for me, because especially if you are dealing with something fantastic or incredible like aliens invading the planet, you know? But yeah, getting to the scene where he then is brought before General Brandon Gleason. Let me see if I get the right shot here. Let's see here. He's basically telling him, he's like, you're going to France where there's the least amount of mimic presence, and you're going to be filming the invasion. And well, yeah, we learn that Tom Cruise is a hype man. He's not a soldier. He doesn't want to be there, and he uses the general's own words against him. He's like, to try to get out of it. And I love how he is a pompous ass in this movie at first. This is what is known as a hero's journey. And Tom Cruise in this movie does it very well, because he's like, well, if I can remove this for a second, because I'm not going to keep the screen up. But he basically tells the general, as a pompous ass, to try to get out of it. He's like, or I can turn the media against you. I mean, who do you think they will blame when the bodies or when the body bags start filling and they're sent home and whatnot? I can easily make them blame you. And he's like, are you threatening me, Major? No, sir. I just really don't want to be on that beach tomorrow, or filming on that beach tomorrow. You won't be. So he then, as Tom Cruise is leaving, he's like, arrest this man. And so he gets shock tased and he's sent to Heathrow, the forward operating base, which honestly, so freaking great. How would I compare Edge of Tomorrow with 2014 sci-fi action movies, or Guardians of the Galaxy, X-Men, Days of Future Past, Transformers: Age of Extinction, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? This one is up there. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, great movie. I love it. I really do. Days of Future Past, good movie. I prefer the road cut. Age of Extinction. God, that movie sucked. I own it, but I still it's purely for brain dead entertainment. That's about it. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a blooper reel that's 2 hours long, and I think that it's pretty good. But Edge of Tomorrow, that's a movie that I really like because I really enjoy a hero's journey tale, and a hero's journey tale done right, because this guy, again, pompous ass, who you see his emotion and how he becomes a wreck. He gives up. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And then he realizes the only way to finish it is to finish it. Otherwise, well, the world is dead. So, yeah, he's put to the forward operating base in Heathrow. And we get day one of the loop, where the loop will start. This is basically his first steps into the loop, even though the loop hasn't begun yet. However, it has, because this is where he will wake up after he dies each time. So, Bill Paxton. Oh my gosh, Bill Paxton, folks. I will pull that up in a second. Let me just find it again. I believe it's around this area. It's buffering like the devil. Well, now let's skip 15 ahead. Yes, Bill Paxton. Now, let me get back to StreamYard so you can all see my ugly face. And right here, the man, the legend, killed by the big three in sci-fi horror: Aliens, Predators, and Terminator. So, yes, Bill Paxton, folks. True legend in the art of filmmaking, because the man, as crazy as he could be, he still does a good job with range. How would I compare Edge of Tomorrow with other Doug Liman films, such as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Bourne Identity, Jumper? Jumper I really liked, as did I like Bourne Identity, because they have that chaotic, Doug Liman has a chaotic way of doing cinematography, where when it's a chaotic situation, the camera shakes, and it does a good job with the shaking. He doesn't make it overtly chaotic to the point where it takes you out, because it's like, oh my God, I can barely see what the F I'm looking at. Where Doug Liman actually, he puts just enough camera shake, like just enough to, if I can, well, I'll basically use this as a example, where you get the real idiotic people who go like that. Sorry, you probably heard the camera shake, or the camera slapping against the thing. Where Doug Liman, he gives it to you like this, and maybe a little like this, where it is, he doesn't, it's not it's not overtly chaotic, where everything else is like, that's everybody else. Where Doug Liman actually is able to do camera shake with a little bit of a skill. You know what I'm saying? Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt's chemistry in this film. That's a good question, Vanya. Honestly, I thought that it was very well. I thought that they did a very good job working together. I'm not a fan of Emily Blunt personally as a person, considering some of the anti-American rhetoric she has spouted over the years, all because somebody got elected to the White House that she didn't like. However, I do like her acting. She does a good job as an actress. I will say that. Tom Cruise, same thing, really. He's kind of insane in the real world. But when it comes to his craft and movie making, he takes it very seriously, and that is why people go to see his movies. And that's actually acknowledged by all the directors that watch his movies. There's a reason why people go to watch his movies, and it's because he does a good job with prepping the movie, with putting himself in the mindset of the character, and it really does work. So he then is introduced to or he's trying to convince Bill Paxton here, but let's actually pull Bill Paxton up again. And he's like, "You're not taking me to a phone, are you? I'm a major in the U.S. military, and I need to call my CO and whatnot." And he's like, "All right, well, right this way, sir." And he realizes he's being brought to a barracks, and he's like, "You're not taking me to a phone." "No, sir, I am not. You see, I have an order here that says you are a deserter, and you were caught impersonating or impersonating an officer." I got major lag and the sound is shitty. Well, let me see about that, folks. If you're talking about the beeping in the background, I can't help that. That is due to things going on around me. But let's see if I can. Well, I have the right sound system, so I am sorry about that. Is it better now, or let me know if it gets better? Or was it because I shook the damn camera? Uh, well, let me know if it has improved, Vanya. But yeah, let's see here. Well, test, 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 test. Let's see if this is working. Yep, it's better now, folks. I'm sorry for the pause and delay. I had to check my sound and or picture quality, so I went to thingamajig here. Yes, Tom is a nut job. So, getting it into it, he basically says that Tom is a desert, or that Cage is a deserter, and that he is not, or he. It's basically Judgment Day for him. So we then get the nice squad. God damn it, speech. Got thrown off, folks, because of the quality. Sorry. So, yes, Bill Paxton gives a speech about how battle is the great redeemer, the fiery crucible in which only true heroes are forged, the one place where all men truly share the same rank, regardless of what kind of parasitic scum they were going in. And then Cage is ordered. Okay, it seems that I was muted. So, you know what? Unfortunately, folks, I'm not going to be able to show the yeah, it seems that I'm not going to be able to show the thing anymore because it seems that it is wreaking havoc with my quality for the stream. So I am sorry, but basically we get introduced to J Squad and they're basically ordered to beat Private Cage if he makes any attempt to escape because he is a deserter and well, the military doesn't take kind to desertion. So this or we also see how he catches them gambling and he makes them eat the cards. And one of these characters, one of these characters is the female, Nance. She reminds me so much of one of my friends on here, Cassie Cage, called Classic Cage. Because she just kind of has that not hillbilly. Well, she's more of a hillbilly. Cassie ain't, but Cold Classic Cage isn't afraid to tell people what's what, you know. So I really do appreciate, or she also does kind of, in a way, look like her too. But yeah, it's pretty funny. How would I compare Bill Paxton's roles in Edge of Tomorrow with other roles such as Aliens, Tombstone, True Lies? Well, he's, or as he's not really a major player in the film, he is sort of a support character. True Lies is where he or where that fits. Titanic and a few others. As a support character, he does a very memorable job. I mean, he isn't considered one of the leads at all, even though he is one of the four big names in the film. And I still think that he does a great job with it. Bill Paxton is always going to be one of the good or best actors in my opinion. And that's not because he's dead. It's just because I like his acting. I think that Bill Paxton is a very good actor. And I'm sorry about the camera shakes. I really can't do anything about that, folks. This is a very rickety table. And yeah. So another fun fact is that the film is based on the novel All You Need Is Skill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. And he was inspired to do this novel through gaming because you die, you go back and do it over until you find a winning strategy. So old school gaming is basically what inspired this man to do his novel. And I really do think that that is actually a very cool inspiration to have. It's like you die multiple times and yet you still have to do the day over and over. And we see how somebody like Cage does it. So we then are introduced to Rita and her unit as they're all getting ready for the combat and the next day to invade France. Cage tries running, and a fun fact here is, or let me see if I could find it here. The fun fact is that Rita got used to melee weapons because during her loop, she kept running out of ammo and dying as a result. Full Metal Bitch is her nickname in the novel. And the guy that she punches on her way out to load up on the gunships, that's her younger brother in real life who was calling her. It's like, oh, or it's like, blimey, it's the full metal. Oh, shit. You know, he was going to call her the Full Metal Bitch. But yeah, that's actually her real life younger brother that they put in the film, which is nice. Off topic question: what's your favorite Sith from the Old Republic? That is too far off topic, Elena. So I'm not going to discuss that. That's for a different time. I'm discussing a sci-fi movie. So, Cage or when Cage tries running, or you get a lot of humor in this movie, or some humor in this movie, which is nice to keep it light. You also get the scenes that are very dark. So that's another great thing about this movie. This moment where they're loading up and he just tries walking off and they're like, Cage, Cage, Cage. Not allowed to, man. It's really is great. And so when they get in there, he doesn't know how to turn the safety off of his weapon. He doesn't know how to release or to drop in when they all start dropping. I mean, the battle is a slaughter. The first or this invasion is a slaughter, and he ends up using a dead man or one of the teams strapped a claymore to their chest, and so he grabs the claymore as the team after the team gets slaughtered by one of the mimics. And the mimics, the way that they move is very chaotic. So when they're splaying out their when they're roaring and splaying out their tendrils, it's basically like it's like really thick and really snappy like that. And that's actually on purpose. That is how they wanted it shown. So I am not going to take points off of CGI because that is by design how they wanted the mimics to move, how they move in the water. All of that is literally by design. So I'm not taking objective points off for CGI in this film, as the CGI is actually pretty well done. How would I compare Edge of Tomorrow with other films that feature time loops such as Groundhog's Day, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time? Never heard of it. Happy Death Day, never saw it. Doctor Strange. Groundhog Day and Edge of Tomorrow. I can compare those two. I think that both are exceptional in their way of how they go back in time to do it, because you do lose track of how many times he has died or repeated the day. Because remember, in Groundhog's Day, Bill Murray doesn't always necessarily have to die to start the day over. He just has to go throughout the day and then wakes up the next day repeating that same day that he just went through. Where in Cage's case, he has to die every time. But it is really interesting how they do it in both movies, because I really do enjoy both movies. And so the alpha, which is blue when the drones are orange, the alphas are bigger and they're blue. And if you kill an alpha, its power passes on to you if it bleeds on you. And when you see Tom Cruise die and where it just leaks all over his face, melting his face, and then he wakes up screaming. And I love how it is very discombobulated. It's like, what the hell's going on here, man? And when I first saw this movie, it's like, okay, he just died. What's going on? Because I hadn't seen the trailers before the film. I had actually gone into the theater very fresh for this film. And when I saw it, and it's like, wait, he just died. How far are we into this movie? Crap, man. Like, died like not even 20 minutes in. And well, then you see him come back and it's like, what is going on here? It does make you wonder. And I like how in each, because in this first loop, he is actually the small death, or you see the tiniest changes where he influences things, but then he sees things that aren't influenced, that he didn't influence, how you can see that they are just slightly ever so different. Where Nance had to deliver her lines, thank you, and where she doesn't deliver it perfectly like she did the previous day or the previous time. And we then see them going in, and he tries to or he tries saving Rita, because he sees her on the field the first day and she ends up getting killed. So then he tries to save her this time, and he gets a hole in his chest, and she takes his battery and goes on in the fight as a mimic comes up, and he's like, oh fuck, and he gets killed there. So then he's now in Death 2, where he tries the doom and gloom, I know what's going to happen, I have seen the future scenario, and his mouth is taped shut because of it. Each scenario of him reliving the day is freaking hilarious. So he's then tries to save everybody, and he gets hit by a truck when he's running towards Rita. And so then the next one he missed, or the truck misses him. So then Rita witnesses his precognition, so she tells her to find him when he wakes up. Now, this is in like the 4th or 5th loop. However, this is probably like over 10 loops in, because he has the precognition where he shoots up and then shoots sideways without looking. Sorry that my arm bent. That was actually because I have a rotator cuff damage. But he's like, boom, boom. And she sees that. She's like, come find me when you wake up. What do you mean? We got to get out of here. Come find me when you wake. Boom. So now he has a real mission. So another fun fact is the default language of the exosuit is Japanese. During his first loop in, he couldn't get it to work right because he doesn't know Japanese, which is a direct reference to the movie's origin novel. The suits are not CGI. Do they have CGI extensions like the guns that come up? Sure. However, the suits themselves are not CGI. The actors, Emily Blunt and them, all had to get used to wearing like 100 or 70 to 100-pound suits and walk in them. So these suits are real suits, folks. As well as Tom Cruise opted for them to be practical because it adds more realism. Cruise then helped with the research and design 2 months before filming. So now we're in loop 5. He's more cooperative. He's running with J Squad, and he now knows that trucks are coming. Now, again, we're more likely into like loops 15 or 16 or whatever. And he tries to roll out when he is running with them. He's like, grab this, Sarge. And so they have to get down and do push-ups. Well, he's already down there getting ready to do them. And he's like, 50, Sarge? Yeah, 50. And while everybody's at it, we could do 52. And so he tries rolling out, and he gets run over by one of the truck. And you hear, oh! And then you see everybody react. And Bill Paxton's like, what the fuck were you thinking? I absolutely love that. He's like, what in God's name are you thinking? It is so freaking hilarious. So he then judges it right the next time, and he eventually finds Rita. She believes him immediately because he's like, you told me to find you, that you know what's happening to me, and to find you when I wake up and whatnot. So you know what's going on with me. And so she starts talking with him, and he's like, you can't tell anybody else what's going on to you. They will think you're nuts. Do you understand? They will dissect you. They will lock you up. Best case scenario, psych ward. Worst case scenario, they will cut you up. And so, yeah. So she's like, what happened? Did you kill a mimic? Yes. What did it look like? It was large. It was blue. It was, sorry about that, folks. She's like, some of its blood got on you, and now you're living the same day over and over. So she goes into a friend of hers that is the only other person that will believe him. And he's like, how many fingers am I have up behind my back? And it's like, okay, we haven't lived this day yet, or he hasn't gotten this far with us yet. So that is another great way of kind of giving away what's going to happen a little later on. So when he explains everything to her, and he's like, I just want this out of me. I don't want any part of this. I'm sick of doing this, you know? He's already sick of doing it, so chances are he's died a dozen times. And he has to experience that pain a bunch of times. So, yeah. We then learn that there is also an Omega, in which he hasn't had visions of them yet. And the Omega controls the day and the time, or in the flow of time in each of the battles. And every time an Alpha is killed, the Omega resets the day. Or the Alpha also can reset the day if it is killed. So, also, if you notice, there's no Alpha on the field every other time he goes to the beach, which explains why the Omega is now actively searching for him, because he realizes one of our alphas got killed and most likely put, or we're witnessing another reset situation. So now he controls it, and he can only control it through death. When the Omega gets close to finding him, he will start to have visions. Now, another fun fact, we never learn how many times Cage loops in this movie. Now, in the movie, it's like around 30 odd times. We see 30 different resets, or 37 resets, where in reality, it's closer to 300, because we learned from Rita that in her loops, she had to watch her boyfriend die 300 different times. And every time she couldn't stop it. So we then see that she's going to start training Cage, killing him when he's injured. The only rule, make sure you die if injured. Blood transfusions will cure, or were what cured Vrataski or Rita. And the shot of her shooting Cage, where she just goes up and it's basically like this, boom, that is used several times in this film. Or they also do have several different versions of it as well, but they have used that repeated time, or a few repeated times. Now, we also get to J Squad is in trouble for Cage escaping, we just don't or I like how they go over to J Squad and show that the squad is in trouble because Cage keeps on escaping, or Cage has escaped and whatnot. We then see in another loop the sex joke, where he's like, "Have you tried everything?" "Oh, you mean like sex?" "Yeah, tried it, didn't work." So in in loop 20, where for us it's like in the 20s, for him it's like in the 200s most likely. He starts seeing visions, and he sees the Mimic in a dam with German writing. So then we get through more loops where they're trying to get off the beach, and she dies several times. And seeing her die keeps on breaking him slowly. And you see how this development starts wearing down on Tom Cruise, on his character Cage, because every time she's getting killed, and he ends up getting killed too, and he's just looking at a dead woman each time. It's basically kind of like how Doctor Strange was looking at Tony Stark in Avengers Infinity War, when he is asked, "How many do we win?" Well, Doctor Strange knows he's looking at a dead man if we win. So now that's basically Cage. He's looking at a dead woman every time he sees Rita, because she dies pretty much every freaking time until they finally start getting it right. So then he just tries to leave, and Skinner and Kimmel are unable to touch him in a fight because, well, Skinner tries fighting him, and he's like, "Okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to put my hands behind my back and watch this. Go ahead, bring it on." And he closes his eyes, and he stops Skinner from being able to touch him. Take it easy, Neozog. Thank you so much, man. You are awesome here. So this also tells you that he's done that fight multiple times. And so then we get to another loop where Cage has fully deserted. He's actually deserted. He's in London. And where they are, or where the battle over in France is starting, he's hearing some old codgers talking about their elders, where they were in like World War II, and one of them calls him a coward. So he then sees that the power goes out, and he gets onto a bridge and sees that they have indeed started to invade London, and one of them kills him. So he manages to so then he tries getting off the beach another way. Now, a fun fact, the Mimic invasion mimics the invasion routes of World War II. Verdun is also known for the bloodiest battle of World War One. So when she is known as the Angel of Verdun, Verdun was one of the bloodiest battles in World War One, and so it's a nice little inspiration from real life. Rita's angel nickname was inspired by the Angel of Mons, where the story, or that is the story of spirits entering the battles to help the British in the Battle of Mons. So that's an interesting little tidbit of movie trivia for you. Now they finally get past the beach to the highway, and we learn that Hendrix was her boyfriend who had died 300 times. This is when she tells him about it. And the suits conk out before they get to a house. And we learn that they have gone through this a bunch of different times. And every time she dies. So he tells her, you get in that helicopter, you're dead. Because they do find a helicopter. And he's just sick and tired of seeing her die. And he also had a joke about her middle name earlier on. And so when shit goes down in this one where she ends up getting killed and the helicopter crashing, she actually does tell him her middle name. My middle name is Rose. And that's when the mimics all kill him and he wakes up again. So he goes to talk to her again up to where she is in the training area. And she's like, yes, did I say that you could talk to me, soldier, and whatnot? He's like, I'm sorry, Sergeant. Or sorry to bother you, Sergeant. So he goes it by himself, deciding against talking to her. And we see the silent invasion where he sees one of the guys, Kimmel, get crushed by the falling Osprey on him. And he's just walking through it as if it's like, well, just at it again. But then we see that he is blowing the house to shit. He gets extra ammo and extra battery and all of this. And he gets to that extra house, or he gets to the house and he gets into the helicopter and gets to the dam. Well, we think that this is all right. We're finally at the end where he can kill this thing. Except the Omega wasn't there. Good twist. Objectively speaking, that is a great plot twist. It's like, oh, plot twist. It's not here. It faked you out. What is there is a drone of the mimics and an alpha. And so he goes to pull the pin on the grenades to kill himself while the alpha, or the drone, knocks it out of his hands. So instead, he pulls his gun to boom, except that the alpha is quick enough and slices his arm so he can't use his hand because it slices like literally right here at the joint area, which will kill your function of your arm. And you also see that he loses a lot of blood because that is also a very artery-rich area. And tendon area too. So they're trying to bleed him out so he loses the power because they realize he is indeed a threat. Well, he manages to get away, and that's when the place starts flooding and he ends up dying and resetting again. So now he goes back and he's like, it wasn't there. I got to the dam last time. It wasn't there. I'm guessing it wasn't even at Verdun when Rita was looping. So chances are this thing knows about us and is toying with us until I lose the ability. So they have a transponder thing, which they need to go to the general, Brendan Gleeson, again. And they don't even go through multiple different takes for it to happen. They just go to the one that is the most successful, where he's like, okay, stop here, turn here, don't move. All right, let's go. And they get to the general. He tells them everything that's going to happen. The general is not believing him to a point, but also is believing him to a point. He's like, so you need a live mimic for this to work. You let me worry about that. All right. So say I do believe you and this Omega. And what would you do? I would bomb it out of existence. You are not mentally prepared to handle this. So they get it and they're walking out. Military police are out there waiting for them, armed guards. So instead, she pulls her gun and shoots Cage in the head, and they immediately cut to them trying to escape through a car, through the garage. So it's like, stay with us, Cage. And so he plugs the transponder into his leg, and we find out they're at the Louvre, or the Omega is at the Louvre this time. It's a direct link. It can't be manipulated because now he's tied to it, but he's following that trace to its source, which is at the Louvre. So now they know that they got to go to Paris. However, they get stopped by the military. The military stops them in their attempt to flee. And now Cage has received a blood transfusion because he was bleeding badly from his leg and also from the car getting wrecked. Well, now they have no choice but to go on from there. So they go to J Squad enlisting their help. And I like how they do that. Because he tells him he tells Skinner everything about his past and whatnot. And he's like, how the heck could he know all of this stuff, you know? And he's like, well, yeah. He says, your name's not even really Ford. Yeah, Ford was a friend of yours who died, and you took his name so that you could send all of the checks to his family. And it's like, that was a great scene in there. So they end up stealing a gunship, and then we get Bill Paxton coming in the next day talking or getting everybody ready, and realizes J Squad's gone. Where the hell's J Squad? So it's a really nice moment there. Well, they finally get to Paris, and they come under heavy assault. Most of all of J Squad is killed, and they manage to get into the Louvre. Now, I gotta say, man, the insanity of Tom Cruise doing his own stunts. Holy crap, dude. Where the crash into the Louvre, I mean, most of it is digital, but him rolling down some debris and stuff, dude is nuts for his age, you know? Another fun fact, Operation Downfall was an actual tactical action plan during World War II. It was the planned invasion of the U.S. against Japan. We were going to go in and invade Japan. However, it was canceled due to the bombs being dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, which resulted in Japan's surrender. So now we are in the final bit, and she actually does have a little bit of feelings for Cage. Now, I don't think that this was actually a good thing, because this suggests that in some weird cosmic way, she's remembering some of her previous iterations where she's like, I really wish that we could have gotten to know each other better, Cage. And she gives him a kiss. And before she runs off to draw an alpha away from the Omega. Well, she does get killed. And that's when Cage goes in after the Omega and gets down there. As he's getting the grenade belt, he gets stabbed by a alpha through the chest, or through the back and through his chest, where the grenade belt then falls into the Omega. But as he turns around, he opens his hands, and you see the grenade pins. So this blows up the Omega, causing ripples, or you can actually see chaotic ripples in time affecting all of the things around them. You see all of the mimics petrify, essentially. They lose all of their glow, and they just simply petrify in all sorts of different poses, kind of like this in some ways, like twisted, gnarled hands and whatnot, which is pretty cool. And so in this case, you also see that the Omega's blood starts surrounding Cage, and his eyes open and his eyes go black again. So he's now sent back even further to where he is going to be meeting up with the general, essentially, where he was on his way to meet the general at the beginning of the movie. Except that now we see that there is celebrations of victory. It's basically V-Day for them. And J Squad we see J Squad doing the rounds without Cage being there. And Cage is still enlisted as an officer. And then he goes to see Rita, and she's like, "Yes, what do you want?" And he's like, and then we shoot the credits. Now, the song that is at the credits, "I Want to Know Now If You'll Love Me Again." It's like, that is so fitting. However, they want to do a sequel to this movie. I think that is such a bad idea. As much as I would love to see Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt together in a movie again, this movie where they are basically, or a sequel to this movie just seems unnecessary, because when you think about it, it doesn't really work because, well, they already destroyed the Omega, and the enemy is petrified all over the planet. So they had their world victory. Having a sequel makes honestly no sense. It's like, what, are you going to have another Omega invade? I mean, it just doesn't make sense, you know? Things I like about this movie, I really do like the mimics. I like how Rita's sword is basically like a Buster sword, but it's made out of a helicopter propeller, which is pretty cool. This movie doesn't have any wokeness in it whatsoever, which is also a plus. The dislikes that I don't like, Hillary Clinton's 1 second cameo. I wouldn't like it even if Donald Trump was in there as president. I wouldn't have liked it then either. Take all that crap out of movies and just freaking have movies that are disconnected from reality, you know? Disconnected from reality, you got yourself a good product. Pretty much already. Where if you are putting that stuff in, it just dates the film. It dates it. It's like, okay, well, she was alive, so this movie probably takes place at this time. And it connects it to reality, and I don't like that. Where also the writing, where it does kind of seem as if she would really remember her previous iterations with Cage. I don't see how that works, because her being romantically attracted to him, wishing that they could have got to know each other better, it just doesn't seem plausible where she would kiss him, you know? That just seems forced. So that's forced writing from an objective standard, that's forced writing. And it does conflict with the rules of the story. Other than that, this movie has a proper blend of a little bit of comedy, a lot of action, a lot of sci-fi, a lot of seriousness. It does a really good job at telling the story. So objectively, I would put this movie around a 9 to a 9.5. Take away the small writing bits where it conflicts with the story, you got a perfect movie. Take away Hillary Clinton from this movie, you got a good movie. Or you got a perfect movie. Subjectively, this movie is about a 9.5. Or you take those two bits out, and yeah, you got a perfect movie. Moviegoer, it's 10 out of 10. I'm not breaking it down. I'm just judging it by entertainment quality alone. It's 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, folks, that is going to be it. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Thank you to Vanya, Elena, and Neozoic for coming on in and discussing the movie in the chat with me. Thank you so much. Next week is going to be Battleship, Aliens versus Military, and at the end of that, I will have a new theme for November. Still trying to find a good theme for it. Anyway, folks, Stay tuned for later tonight. I will be on the Barroom Podcast with Society Reviews, discussing another week of entertainment mayhem. Anyway, thank you all so much. Y'all are freaking amazing and beautiful people. This has been an Orange Hat. Stay humble.